think I made it out. That was wild, man. That was literally like the grizzly maze back there. I had to get down on my hands and knees. Hope that I didn't run into a bear. It's all kinds of caves and stuff. I had to come all the way back to where I was, to where I came in. And I'm glad to be the hell out of here. Soaking wet to the bone, cold. Anyway, be back. Here's what happens to you when you go hunting in Oregon. First of all, you find a nice place you think you're going to hunt, and you walk back up the road. There's a nice game trail. So you follow that game trail back into the wilderness. Let's see what it looks like to the game camera. Get back in there and it's looking pretty and you're walking along and everything's going swell and you can see around and stuff. And after a while the game trails start to split up and you got to head one direction, so you start following the game trails that direction. The game trails keep splitting up and they get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then you turn left where you're supposed to go down to the road. But you discover that the road turned left and there's nothing down there but the river. So, just keeps getting thicker and thicker as you go along. You're just looking and looking and thicker, and the brush starts to get to you and starts to gobble you up. Supposed to go down to the road, but you discover that the road turned left and there's nothing down there but the river. So, and not only that, but it's 100 feet down and it's 100 yards full of berry bushes before you can even get to it. But you're too stupid to turn around then, so you're going to try to go down there. So you try to go down there 3 times. The third time you find yourself on a rock cliff, and that little rock cliff has got a little step on it, like the one up there above Downeyville when you're down by the river and you got to cut that little ledge and then drop down to the river. Well, except this one's covered in leaves and moss and water's running down it and it's a slimy mess. So you try to go across it anyway because there's a big branch there for you to hang on to. Well, you take a step and the next thing you know, it's a bunch of leaves and your foot goes out from under you. So you got your left hand on the tree trunk there, and you've got your right hand on your rifle, and you're dangling off the edge of a rock cliff, wondering how the fuck did I get myself into this mess? And it's like 100 feet down through the trees. But you somehow get your rifle stuffed up above you into the patch of the briars and stuff, and then you get your other hand onto the tree. Then you scrape and scratch and drag your feet up the side until you get kind of hanging on there. Well, at this point, everything's wonderful because you're okay. The bad part is you can't go back the way you came, because you can't go back across there without risking falling down the mountain again. So now you have to scratch and straggle and beat your way through the brush, wishing you had a machete. But you don't, and you find yourself in more briar patches and more berries, and it gets so thick that the limbs are whipping your glasses off, and you're catching thistles in the hands and the legs, and everything drips on you, and you're soaking wet to the point where your padded pants are a blessing and a curse because they've got a lot of padding on them, and they keep the briars from poking through you. However, and your boots are not going to be dry this trip. They're so wet. So, and your long sleeve shirt, oh, that's a blessing too, except that it's soaking wet. So everything you got weighs another 50 pounds that you're carrying along with you. And you're crawling through the grizzly maze, like in the book, down on your hands and knees, because that's the only way you're ever going to get through them. And you're wondering if you're going to run head on into a bear. And in a minute you're going to get 8 and have to go head on with a bear. But you straggle and you strive and you get your hands chopped up and you get branches in the face and you get filthy, and you finally get out of there and you beat your way back for about an hour, and it feels like a day. and you get back to the game trail and you have to go all the way back that you came in because nothing else is going to work. And you finally get back to the trailer, and well, here's Dad, and he's all comfy. Looks like he's all cleaned up and got his prison shirt on and reading a book, and me, I just got out of the shower, so I feel whole again, but everything is just wonderful now. And you learned a lesson. So, wish I'd have taken some pictures of when I was hanging off the cliff so you could see how interesting that was. Or when I was going through the grizzly maze. But when you're in the middle of those things, it's real hard to get pictures. So you'll just have to take my word for it. Have a nice day. Until next time. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Don't ever lose your compass, or you will be dead meat. Gall darn it. Don't lose your compass.